Hello, and welcome to our Saints Media Lab Newsreel magazine for Term 2 of 2023. We hope you'll enjoy our reporting about our college life. This term, we have looked at some of the more quiet or not so well known activities at our college to give you a bit of a behind the scenes look. But with our first newsreel, we'll start with someone quite famous. And this happened at the very end of last term, when one of our former head boys, who is known worldwide as producer and musician Dr. Chai.
My name is Dr. Chai. No, my real name is Philip Kimball, and I went to St. George's College in 2009, and I was head boy here. But now I'm a music producer, an artist, and I'm now 3 times Grammy nominated. I produced a song called No Lie for Sean Paul and Dua Lipa, and that was the first song I ever produced. And it was the song that changed my life, the song that allowed me to meet the artist I look up to for the first time, and the song that was sort of my gateway into becoming a music producer. And I'd say the second song I'm extremely proud of is a song called Questions by Chris Brown that I produced. And in the song, there's a guitar line that I kind of played that goes like goom, 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 goom. And the whole idea behind that was, and I said, I wonder what it would sound like if you were on a Zim dancehall song. I'm inspired a lot by a lot of what's going on in the Zim music industry at the moment, and I think it's kind of a movement. You know, you've got Holy Ten that I love, Tammy, you've got Winky D, you've got Nyasha David that I love, Takura, and I think it's a really cool time because all these guys are being able to express themselves fully as Zimbabwean artists, as global Zimbabwean musicians, rather than trying to be like people from elsewhere. So I think I'm really inspired by, how honestly they're able to tell their story, how incredibly they're able to just translate, the Zim experience. Being head boy at St. George's in 2009 was an interesting experience because I was really nervous that year. There was a lot of pressure, but I made some of my closest friends. Even being here at Saints, coming to the Loyola concert, that was really, really important to me because I was in the choir and I was in these bands and I had no idea how to get to a career in music. One of the things that I like to do is always remember where I came from and where God's brought me from. And I think looking back at all those moments, it makes you realize that your dreams are valid, your ideas are valid, and you have all these fears about how things are going to work out. But when they do, it just reminds me that, things have worked out, but the journey is just getting started. My time at Saints, I would say, impacted my career a lot and still does every day. And it's something that they used to tell us all the time. They'd say ex fide fiducia, and that kind of confidence to be proud of the things you care about and proud of the things that you're passionate about really allowed me to become the producer and the artist that I am, because by the time I left, Saints had allowed me to really have a grasping and an understanding of who I am and who I'd like to be. Things have changed a lot since I was here. When I was in choir, there wasn't as much of the mbiras were being played. We've got a lot more of the traditional music coming through, which is amazing. It seems like there's even more of a platform and an opportunity for people to discover their musical talents. That's just a testament to the environment that Ms. Matero's building and allowing people to be able to try things. There's a mixed choir now. It was amazing to hear the girls and the guys singing together, and I think it gives a lot of range for the vocals to be able to work with. And honestly, I think it's changed a lot for the better. I'm a little bit jealous of the times that everybody's allowed to experience now. There's more equipment, more instruments. It's a whole lot going on, so it's definitely a vibe. The subjects I did at A-level were history, English literature, and geography. Now, that might sound like it has nothing to do with what I ended up doing in my career, but I learned a lot kind of doing the subjects that I loved and the subjects that I was passionate about. And so for me, I still use English Lit a lot when I write music and write songs. And a lot of, things that I learned in that class are really useful to me now as far as just writing and being able to articulate my thoughts and my lyrics. So my creative process is a little bit different to most creatives because I was an academic first and I went to university and did a master's and had to do a dissertation and all these things. So my creative process is very research-based. So I listen to a lot of other artists, I read a lot of poetry, I go and watch a lot of movies and things that inspire me and museums and architecture. And then when I see something that jumps out at me, it could be a picture. It could be an old picture of Bob Marley in Jamaica, and I'll go and if it jumps out at me and inspires me, I'll go home, I'll put it down next to my studio, I'll look at it, and I'll just start to make something that feels like the feeling that that picture gave me. So I usually start with the beat, and that could be chords, it could be piano, it could be drums, but something that I'm able to write to, and then I come up with the melodies. So it'll be like a beat, and then it'll just be like without lyrics. And then after that, I'll write the lyrics to the words and then put it all together. To any student at St. George's that either is inspired by me or my music or my story, I would say I had no idea what I was doing in Upper Six. And I was head boy at the time. And what I would say is just try not to put so much pressure on yourself. Try your best to enjoy the moment that you're in, because looking back at it, these were some of the best moments of my life, some of the times that I laughed the most. And so at the end of the day, just do your best to be better than you were yesterday.
This visit left a lasting impression with many current students, and he hoped to connect with even more old boys and soon girls in the future. At the beginning of the term, he visited one of the lesser-known student sports club, the St. George's golf team. Even though overall playing golf is rather popular in Zimbabwe, there are not many young people who decide to take on this rather exclusive sport. Here is a report about a very active college sports club.
You just need to have quite a lot of patience, because golf is a very quiet sport, and you just need to have a mentality where you understand that these are one of the sports where you need silence. My name is Darrow Simbi, and I am the junior golf captain for the St. George's College golf team. We play at Royal Harare Golf Club, so we start by arriving at the golf course. Some of us would have changed, some of us wouldn't, but then we go onto the range. I chose golf as a sport because it's one of the sports that aren't really chosen by other students, so I wanted to stick out. And also it's actually interesting because it's one of the most calm sports, but there's a lot of tension during when you're playing. We meet our coach, his name is Coach Shingai. He gives us 50 balls each, and we play on the range. And if there's some spare time, we either play 9 holes or we go on the short par 3 course. For someone new to golf, I would give them the advice that it's all about practice. You can't just wake up one day and say you're going to be good at golf. You just need to train. You need to also play a round of golf, play with your peers, but you should also enjoy the sport because the sport is a very good sport. You can really learn much from practicing, so taking it as a career option would really be a good option, but there's just a level of skill needed that I haven't really built up on, but I really would consider taking golf as a career option.
And of course, we wish our golf playing students lots of success with their interesting game. Now, another extracurricular activity at our college is not as much known as it probably deserves. And this is the very active and important EduCenter. This center has played a pivotal role in many of our students' academic development and success.
The EduCenter is the school's learning support center. Not only do we provide additional tuition to students who may be weak in a particular subject, we also provide guidance to those who need, for say, homework help or study or exam skills. My name is Chipo Mudavanu, and I am head of department for EduCenter, which is the school's learning support. I'm also an educational psychologist, and I head the department for students who need additional tuition or support, or students who are struggling or even need a challenge in the department. I chose to work here because I love issues to do with learning. I was also a remedial teacher prior, so I don't like the formal type of teaching where you are confined to a particular subject. but I like to be all-rounded, and I like to understand how people learn, how people think, how do they interpret information, how do they process information. So in the Edu Center, I get an opportunity to discover all that and then find the best type of teaching method for the students. We use a variety of teaching methods. Sometimes we use games to teach, sometimes we use visuals to teach, and sometimes we just use textbooks. It just depends on what the need of the student is. But we are not limited to that standard classroom style. We like the Edu Center to be as informal as possible. Anybody can join the Edu Center. So you are referred by your teacher. Your teacher would have identified an area in which you need support in, and they refer you to the Edu Center. Some students are referred by their parents who feel that they're just not working or they're not motivated enough or they need study skills, then they are referred to the Edu Center. There's a big number of students who just refer themselves because they're looking for a challenge. They want to push the skills. In which case we have gap students who enable them to excel and to further develop their skills. In the Edu Center, we have about 4 or 5 teachers. The other teachers are gap students. These are former students who come and then help in the department. And the idea of having more than one teacher is so that we can teach small groups and be able to move as quickly as possible. One-on-one is ideal usually, and having former students is good because I've noticed that students, particularly the younger ones, they respond better to someone who's more or less their age. They haven't got that barrier between teacher and student. I will start success stories with gap students. They're not just teachers, but they learn about themselves. Is this what I went through? Is this how I was when I was in Form 1s? And I think gap students quite like to help others. And I love it when they come back and they say, ma'am, what we learned in the Edu Center, all the interaction that we had with other students, we're actually applying now at university. Got some upper 6 and lower 6 students who come in here just offering to help. And these are students who were in Edu Center sometimes, in Form 1 or in Form 2. I've had a student who was so bright, he struggled, not with mathematics or English, but he was so bored in his ordinary classes, and he just came to Edu Center to get that challenge, to be able to compete with senior students who are part of the staff in Edu Center.
We would like to thank Ms. Mdawanu and her colleague Ms. Lorraine Yawata from the Edu Center for their help. And now to a very well-known and popular event at our school. Since 1996, the home encounter for rugby and other winter ball sports against Prince Edward School is known as Centenary Day, in remembrance of St. George's College 100th anniversary that year. Accordingly, the return fixture was then in 1998, called Jubilee Day, celebrating Prince Edward's 100 years.
The jubilation at St. George's was great on this cold but beautiful July Saturday afternoon. The well-documented success of the Prince Edward School's rugby team lives on the history books, but now the Dragons have beaten them for the second year in a row. And the whole day was a great success for the St. George's rugby teams. In some very tightly contested battles, the George's juniors and lower-ranked teams won nearly all of their games. The second team's contest proved to be an extremely entertaining game, with the Prince Edward seconds dominating most of the game and their supporters jubilating throughout. They had several breakthrough counter-attacks and scored quick tries with a number of conversions, but the St. George's second team never gave up and kept themselves in a striking distance and relied on their endurance. So in the very last seconds of the game, they tipped the scoreboard for a 27-26 win.
The importance of this encounter was then also highlighted by an energetic blazer trick performed by the St. George's Juniors, who paid tribute to the Old Georgians Association, which was founded 100 years ago. And many Old Georgians who always make up a significant number of the St. George's rugby supporters were present to see this warm-hearted dedication. And that set stage for the big game with the first teams. The performances of the lower teams throughout the day challenged the Dragons to go for a win.
The build-up to this game was full of anticipation and passionate support for each team, particularly because the Prince Edward's Tigers were so far undefeated this season.
The stands at Weaver Field were quite full on this cold afternoon, even though the competition of a St. John's versus Peterhouse game across the city was still felt. As the game started, it became clear that St. George's was missing some crucial injured players, and the Prince Edward Tigers took an early lead that they managed to hold on to for the most part of the game. And again, just like the second team, St. George's fell prey to some swift counterattacks and the Tigers scored a few quick tries. But despite these setbacks, the spirit of St. George's Dragons was not broken, and they tried hard to stay in the game. Even when a few minutes from the end, they were still down 10 to 17 points. And then they made a risky but brilliant tactical decision. Given a penalty kick with just a few minutes left on the clock, they opted to convert that penalty for 3 points, giving them at least the chance to push for a try in the resulting win in the remaining time of the game. And to everybody's surprise, great cheering and jubilation of their supporters, they scored a try in the dying seconds to tip the scoreboard for an 18 to 17 win. So with enthusiastic celebrations by students and supporters alike, St. George's College won the Kubatana Centenary Trophy for the second year in a row.
Well, you could definitely see how much this is one of the most emotional sporting highlights of our school year. And now to another much lesser known but equally important department at the school, the textbook library. In a well-oiled procedure, several thousand textbooks and set books are provided to the students at our school each year. And we spoke to the person in charge.
We've just got so many books to process and check, as well as, managing sort of the repairs, all of that. We've got all the set books that we have to have sort of ready to go when they roll on. So there's quite a decent library of literature books that aren't always being issued but sit in the shelves, but otherwise probably anywhere between, I would say, 60 and 70,000. So my name is Meredith Renda. I run the bookstore, which is the textbook library. The main responsibilities of the bookstore and my main responsibilities are the management of the textbooks, so their upkeep, ordering new textbooks, sort of maintaining them. I have a bookbinder, so he strengthens the books that come in and repairs the books that get damaged while they're out. I also issue stationery to staff and can sell stationery to students, as well as exercise books that get issued to the students, and then dealing with internal exam envelopes. I store the envelopes and sort of then issue them to the invigilator at the time of the exam. So the bookstore is mainly a holding area for the exam papers before they go out to actually be written. So it's mostly just the management of the storage and then issuing of the internal exams. I don't really have anything to do with external exams because that all has to be followed by certain Cambridge protocols, which is all run by the Cambridge officer at the school. So a teacher will approach me and say that I want to issue 30 copies of this textbook to my class. What would happen is I would put aside those 30 books, and the teacher would take those and issue them to the students in class. And then that list would be returned to me and stored here at the bookstore. And then generally the teacher will come and collect the list. They go to the class and each student has to return the book that was issued to them. Working through the barcoded system that I'm implementing, all book returns will be done through the bookstore and the barcode scanner. So for the most part, all of the books might show signs of a little bit of wear and tear, but shouldn't show extensive damage. If there's extensive damage, like pages falling out, torn covers, then it would go up to the bookbinder to be repaired. If a book is brand new, then I would expect it to be returned mostly in a similar state. But you do get cases where books are completely destroyed. and you get cases where they look like they've never even been opened. The students are responsible for the books and accountable for the books. So if a book is issued to a student, they are responsible for that specific copy. And if that book is damaged or lost, they are liable to pay for it. I am a little bit sympathetic in the sense that, especially I know when it's the rainy season and you've got kids keeping their books in lockers at point A but attending lessons in point B, they can get water damaged running in the rain and things like that. I appreciate that. I always give the kids an opportunity to explain how the damage happened, and often if they attempt to lie to me, that's sort of when the hammer falls. So it's usually very much up to the student to take responsibility for being honest, and if they are honest, then I might not charge them because, like I said, I can understand. So, yes.
Again, we are very grateful to Ms. Renda to provide us with that insight. And now, to our last newsreel of this term. At the end of the term, our IT department organized the Texpo 23 at St. George's College. More about this now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third edition of Texpo, running under the theme Steam On, and the first to be held in the Sunshine City. The theme Steam On refers to the first steam engine which powered the first industrial revolution, and without which we wouldn't have come so far as a civilization. Second, it refers to science, technology, the arts, engineering, and mathematics. These disciplines are nurtured in institutions such as these. And on that note, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our most gracious hosts, St. George's College, for working with Texpo to run this program over the next couple of days. I'm excited to note that no less than 8 educational institutions are represented here, and this marks a significant growth in the number of active Texpo participants thus far. There is also an increase in the number and diversity of exhibitors. We have exhibitors and participants from the agricultural sector, education, radio, the film industry, and the fashion industry. The government of Zimbabwe and the Embassy of the United States are also participating here today. So thank you to everyone who has contributed towards this program. I would like to challenge everyone else to take a few moments to check out the exhibitions, participate in at least one micro training or workshop, and cheer on the teams of hackers. You will experience a host of technologies and tech applications, including augmented reality, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, virtual reality, radio, 3D printing, physical computing, and data analytics. So I'm confident that we'll all learn something over the next 2 days. So on behalf of Texpo and all of its partners, I'd like to welcome you and wish you all the best experience over the next couple of days. Thank you and good morning.
So this was this term's Media Lab magazine. We hope you enjoyed our various newsreels and wish you happy and safe holidays. See you again next term.